Good morning. Good morning. Just running a little bit behind. Getting ready this morning. Got a lot of things going on here. It's all good. It's all good. We are blessed today to, I don't even know. Is today Thursday or Friday? I am out of whack this morning. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Wendy. Valerie, good morning. Good to see you all on here. Mara, good morning. Boyd Pete, good morning. Jared Cook, good morning. Mom, good morning. People popping right on here. It's funny how they come in different orders, and kind of odd how that works. We are trying to clean up a little bit here. Different conversations going on over here in my side deal. Just giving everybody a little bit of time to jump on. Well, there's that. Going through here, this chapter, there's some things in here that I'm trying to sort through the meaning, because there's one or two in here that we'll look at that that are interesting, and it just goes along with trying to take in a verse, one verse. The Bible talks about proving things by 2 or 3 witnesses, and so I think there's always value in finding what things mean by finding other verses. Let the Bible prove the Bible. Sometimes these commentaries are based on opinion or the best knowledge, and doesn't necessarily make them wrong, but it could make them not complete. And so growing in our study of the Bible, here's the thing: if something doesn't seem right or isn't clear, you can set it aside and come back to it. Where we're hitting these little things down through these Proverbs, there's some of these that you got to go to other scriptures, other parts of the Bible to kind of prove out or explain or bring into a more complete context of God's will. So, and I'm trying to clean up some of my little things like that not go on the radio, because I know some of you listen through headphones. I've heard that, and some of those noises get pretty loud, but kind of like when I sip my coffee. But this is really, really good coffee. Pinion coffee. It's New Mexico Pinion is the coffee. It's in a red bag. Is what we've found and been drinking. It's fantastic. We grind the beans and make it, and boy, it's good. It is really good. But everybody slurps their coffee. You got to, or you'll burn your tongue, right? Morning, Sean Mayfield. Morning, Lucy. Good morning, Jeff. It is Friday. Okay, good. Thank you. Somebody helped me out there. But nice indirect help there, Jeff. Maybe you heard me say, what day is it? I see that mom helped me too. Bill Lehman, good morning. Sean Summers, good morning. Aranda, good morning. Jared Cook, I think that's where I got back to. Well, let's jump into the Word today, and let's go to Proverbs chapter 17. We're progressing through Proverbs, and I tell you what, it's valuable to us. We're gonna hit a few verses here. We won't cover all of these today, but just hitting a few that stand out. And, you know, here's the thing. You may go through the book of Proverbs on different years. The first time through, there's certain things that may stand out. After a while, there may be other things. But if you develop the overall growth of these scriptures into your life, they will be valuable to you. You know, I happened to go over this when I was young, but you know, I don't hit the mark every time. I'm not always perfect, that's for sure, and so we got to go back to it to get things to get things perfect, or to be more perfect, be closer to Jesus. We're always going to fall short, but we're going to work to be better, and that's a thing that we got to continually do. We're never going to completely arrive this side of heaven, this side of being in God's presence, and so we're going to continue to grow. But that's part of the awesome thing. I mean, you know, usually once you master something, you become bored. At least I do. Become bored with it. You get to where you can do something too well. Sometimes you get bored with it. Not always. Some of those things is just nice to continue to enjoy. Of course, now thinking about it, I don't know that I've mastered anything. I keep working, keep getting better. There's always a way to improve. Verse 1 of Proverbs chapter 17, it says, "Better a dry crust eaten in peace than a house filled with feasting and conflict." Boy, isn't that true? Sometimes we're stuck in a situation that's full of conflict, and there's, you know, certain seasons, certain short-term things. But man, if that's all there ever is, then it's better to go eat less, or eat a less festive meal in peace. He's really just contrasting, not the food part. He's contrasting a house without conflict is much, much better. So finding a way to get there, and he hits on some of the things down through here on how to improve those relationships. Verse 2, "A wise servant will rule over the master's disgraceful son, and will share an inheritance of his master's children with his master's children." You know, sometimes the kids don't produce, and I don't think the emphasis here is, or don't act right. I don't think the emphasis is on that. The emphasis is on, if you serve well and are willing to serve, you're going to gain as well. So glean that meaning out of there beyond just, you know, master and his children, you know, me versus them. That's not but being a servant will produce. That's the overall theme and understanding of that verse 2. A wise servant will rule. His one who serves will be brought into a place of being taken care of. And so God's producing or providing or supplying for the servant. So, you know, Jesus even said the greatest in the kingdom is the servant of all. So being willing to serve, that's what we want to see out of this. It's not, I'm going to get something they got. No, that's the wrong heart. The heart is, okay, God, I'll serve and trust you for this, because God's provision makes that supply. And I've seen this over and over in my life, or in somebody else's life, or somebody, you know, you just continue to serve and trust God. Sometimes people don't do you right. Sometimes people, you know, they take, or they put you in a bad situation. But our source is not God, is not people. Our source is God. our source is bigger, is greater. He's the ultimate master that we serve. The Bible talks about service in a lot of different ways, and one of the things it says is that that we ought to be willing to. It talks about a willingness to serve, and a trust in so doing. And when we give God our full heart and dedicate to Him, we're His servant, and He takes care of us because of that. And that's what stands out there. It's not that you're trying to get somebody else's inheritance. That's wrong heart. Okay, that's why it takes other scriptures to sometimes clarify the meaning and qualify what he's saying, because some of these are almost like riddles, or they're almost they're indirect what he's describing, what he's saying. Verse 3, fire tests the purity of silver and gold, but the Lord tests the heart. So a fire, a trial, a situation that brings on a lot of heat can purify our heart or test our heart. Every trial, every problem, every bad thing, and let's separate a trial from just evil or bad things that come into our lives. Not everything that comes into our lives is from God. Understand that. Always remember that. But there's times those trials and those challenges are a great test of our heart, and will help us really remove the things that are not of God. Some of those times of testing financially causes you to really evaluate, well, what am I spending money on? What am I trying to hold on to that I don't need and that's causing a problem? God never has. There's illustration all throughout the Bible where prosperity or increase or having a lot is good, and God desires that we have more than enough and plenty. But if having it is causing an issue, then it's better to not have it. And that's all throughout Proverbs. It's really an evaluation of the thing that's bringing the conflict or the problem or the stress or the issues, and that's the same way with a test or trial, financial trial. You get to say, okay, do I really need this, or why am I fighting so hard to hold on to this thing that's costing me so much money? You may love that vehicle, or that you may love that piece of property or that house, or you may love this or that or whatever, but it's costing you. It's costing you way more. It's costing you too much. And a fiery trial can purify and bring that to balance and say, you know what? I'd rather have less and have peace. I'd rather have not have that and have something here for a time period or a season. Get there. You may get there, but get there a different way. But a fire tests the purity of gold or silver. I didn't look it up, but there's another scripture, and I'm trying to think where it's at, but I think it's in, I want to say it's in Timothy, 1st or 2nd Timothy. But Paul I believe it was Paul's writing, and he says there's, in the Lord's house, there's vessels of gold, clay, and wood, and there's vessels of silver and gold. And we want to be those pure vessels, those ones that can handle the heat. Those others just burn up or just crumble. But we want to be one that can withstand the trials of life and challenge of life and become more pure. And on the other side, that's what we really want. We want the heart that God has for us, and we want the things and the place and the position that God has for us. Anytime there's something that hits you in life, you got an opportunity to say, okay, God, check my heart. Help me to balance this. Then he goes on to verse 4 here, and he says, wrongdoers eagerly listen to gossip. Liars pay attention, close attention to slander. Man, I tell you what, if we're always chasing the gossip, then that's wrong. He just makes that real clear. And so, you begin to think about those things and evaluate yourself against these verses. That's what's so valuable about these. Verse 5 says, those who mock the poor insult the Maker, meaning God. Those who rejoice at the misfortune of others will be punished. And so we want to be, having a heart that's not critical, judging, mocking, all of those things, man. Just again, testing our heart. Grandchildren are the crowning glory of the aged. Parents are the pride of their children. We could. There's so much about the value of grandkids. I'm just having, just starting that process. Got our first one, it's a year and a half old, and got another one due in a month, and so our second one. And so, man, I can truly say those are awesome. I'll be much more patient as a grandpa, I think, and all of those things, we get to do and be a blessing to them. But that's a reward of, I guess, growing older. Verse 7, eloquent words are not fitting for a fool, and even less are lies fitting for a ruler. So making sure that as we grow and gain in leadership, if you're in a position of leadership, man, telling the truth and being honest and being straightforward is best and valuable. Now, I wanted to get into these few verses right here of 8, 9, and 10, because I think there's a lot to be said here. A bribe is like a lucky charm. They're magically delicious. Oh, sorry. I just had to throw that in. Anytime I could hear the little song, that's a cereal for anybody outside of maybe outside of the country, or maybe is young enough that maybe you never ate Lucky Charms. But anyway, and saw the commercial. My wife's laughing in the other room. Hopefully you're laughing as well. But a bribe is like a lucky charm. Whoever gives one will prosper. Now that seems odd to me, and I thought, this New Living Translation, I didn't read that out of the King James or the ESV. I didn't pull that out. But a bribe is like a lucky charm. You say, well, now wait a minute. So he's telling us to use bribes because he says whoever gives one will prosper. What's wrong with that? That's messed up. So that seems contradictory. And so you got to go back and you got to understand what he's saying in this. In the book of Exodus, he just flat out tells them, do not take bribes, do not use bribes. Bribes are not good. Okay, so he's giving the law and giving the commands. Now, we're not under the law, but where things like that are concerned, I mean, you got to consider other ways that and the things that it was used. A bribe was used to make the guards say what they were needing to say after Jesus was resurrected. You could look at a bribe for what when Jesus was what's the disciple that sold out Jesus? Judas. Good grief, Judas. And whenever you think about that, but what he's really saying is the world's ways can produce. When you turn that around and you begin to think about it, the world's they'll produce, but it's not going to be lasting. And if we get it, because we know what he says in these other verses, if you get it through the world's way, you're going to get the world's results. You're going to have it at the expense of someone else, or you're going to have it dishonestly. And if you get it dishonestly, it's not got God's blessing. It doesn't have God's blessing on it. So we don't want it. So that's where just a little bit of understanding in how that works. Verse 9 says, love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. Boy, isn't this true? Here's a simple way to understand. You know what? I'm going to forgive a fault. I'm going to forgive and allow people. I'm going to give people the benefit of the doubt to start with. But then I'm going to forgive a fault. And he says, love prospers when we do that. Now, obviously, if that person's heart doesn't change and they continue to do things that could hurt or harm you or your family, then you don't let them back into your life. You got to be careful with that. But releasing them or forgiving them, and it allows love in your heart at least to grow, and it allows for other things to be worked out. If you hold on, then to that fault and that bitterness and resentment, and not be willing to forgive, we know that produces all kinds of problems in our lives. So, but notice, goes back, dwelling on it separates close friends. So I think what he's talking about, he's not talking about the huge grievous things. He's talking about small things. Somebody says something in a joke that wasn't really funny for you, and you hold that. Just let that go. You might communicate, hey, I didn't like that, but deal with it. You can forgive, you can release. Some people can't forgive in even small things. You lie to them one time, they're done with you forever, or you, which is, we don't lie, so that's understandable. But yet, allowing people forgiveness gives them an opportunity to correct and come back around. Now, if it's a consistent thing, a small thing, somebody, you continually do something without any forgiveness, there's no room for correction. So love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. So understanding that and recognizing that, say, man, am I shutting off my friendships or this friendship just because I won't forgive a fault? I know family or people who absolutely, boy, they're done. Man, you did me wrong. Bam, you're done. Well, I'm sure glad God didn't like that we fall or we fail and he's not done. Aren't you glad that he gives us room to correct? And so obviously a lot of other scripture in here throughout Proverbs teaches us how to be wise in those times. And if you just if you don't know what else to do, go eat some Lucky Charms. All right, verse 10. I saw that again. A single rebuke does more for a person of understanding than 100 lashes on the back of a fool. It's just another thing. Am I the person with understanding that can receive a rebuke one time and correct? Or am I a fool who has to have it beat into me? There again, it depends on which side of that equation that you want to be, and allowing time to think about that. There may have been a time in my life where, I was a fool who wasn't going to listen and had to have things beat into me. But you can grow into that person of understanding where a single rebuke is enough, a single correction, a single adjustment. Oh, I can get that right. Okay, not going there again. But a fool just keeps going and keeps, it can't be even beat into them. All right, so I want to contrast the two and realize that. So we got to move on here. Let's jump down here to verse 17. A friend is always loyal, and a brother is born to help in time of need. Boy, I tell you what, that's cool. I believe that we develop, that we have blood brothers that are born to us, from the same family, and then we have what they say, a brother from another mother. We have those that come into our life that are like family or like friends, and I believe God brings those in. That sisterhood or brotherhood or that close friendship is born through other means, like maybe a season of life, a challenge, a trial. We've got friends that we developed from way back years ago when we were young, raising our kids in a place that we've maintained those friendships, even though we hardly see each other because we live a state apart, a state away. And so, a friend is always loyal, and there's some of those friendships and close that in time of need they're there. In time of need we can call. Verse 18 says, it's poor judgment to guarantee another person's debt or put on security for a friend. Here again, this is the second or third time he said, don't secure a loan for somebody else. So a lot of wisdom needs to go into that. If it's your kid or whatever, you're helping them along, It's a little bit different, but be sure that you're not putting yourself into something you can't afford to take on if they drop the ball, right? Verse 19, anyone who loves to quarrel loves sin. Anyone who trusts in high walls invites disaster. The crooked heart will not prosper. The lying tongue tumbles into trouble. A cheerful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit saps a person's strength. Here again, we just heard, he said, a cheerful heart will make a happy face. And here he says, a cheerful heart is good medicine. It's good medicine. And a broken spirit saps one's strength. So having the peace of God, the love of God, the blessing of the Lord on us, and enables us to be healed and restored and recover, mentally, emotionally, physically. All of those things are affected here. I'm going to wrap it up with those, but you can read down through. There's just a few but there's a few more verses down through there. But just take these words today and allow them to stand out in your mind. Let them be an encouragement to you, and receive the ones that correct and adjust you, and come back to those. Some of those things you may have to work into. Some of those they may kind of hurt. They might have kind of been, that hit kind of harder. That hit kind of close to home. That got on my toes. But you know what? The wise person with understanding receives that correction and makes the adjustments. And so that's the value of this teaching. So, man, I hope today is a blessing to you. On this Friday, we're going into not only the weekend, but also into Christmas. I want to just say Merry Christmas to everybody that is out there and so you guys go out and have a blessed weekend, and go get them for Jesus. Love y'all. Good morning, Sean Mayfield. I said that maybe. Brad Mays. Lucy. I think I got down there to those. Good to see everybody on here. And again, I didn't want to put that because this will end up on the radio after recorded. But Merry Christmas to everybody. I'm very thankful for all those that have sown seed, given, and blessed our ministry for the year. Thanks for those that are just here to support, praying for us, and receiving the message, the encouragement, the likes, the comments. All that is part of it. It not only encourages me, I think it encourages others that are on here. So love it when y'all do that. So you guys go out and have a blessed day and good weekend. If you're close around, we have a Sunday morning service at 10:30 on Christmas Eve, and then a Christmas Eve candlelight service at 5 o'clock there at Carrier. So if you need a place to go, come on out. Be blessed.